Welcome to the iHistory channel. Today, we delve into the political changes that the modern world is undergoing. Political dynamics across the globe are in a state of flux. We see the emergence of new political figures, leaders who are not afraid to challenge the status quo. These individuals, such as Jair Bolsonaro, Donald Trump, André Ventura, Javier Milei, and many more, are redefining the political landscape, breaking free from the clutches of long-standing political ideologies. For decades, society has been under the influence of left-wing politicians whose reign seemed unassailable. However, a shift is palpable. An increasing number of followers, tired of being deceived and manipulated, are rallying behind these new leaders. They seek a break from the corruption and scandals that have tainted the political scene for far too long. This surge is not just a whim or a fad, it's the so-called new wave of the right. It is bringing with it a renewed sense of hope and a flurry of controversy. The minds of young people, once seemingly hypnotized and asleep under the weight of social rules, are now waking up. Each day, more and more of them are creating a veritable tsunami of people rising up against the global political system. The impact of this shift is far-reaching, even shaking the foundations of the world media, long believed to be in the pockets of politicians. The suppression once imposed by force is now being challenged, and the voice of the people is growing louder. This political awakening is not just about change, it's about hope. Hope that was once a distant dream is now present in the minds and smiles of a youth that yearns for a more just and balanced world. They're not just spectators, they are active participants, shaping their future with their voices and actions. The world is witnessing the rise of free men with clean strategies, a stark contrast from the past. This is not a mere shift in power, it's a revolution, a political awakening. As we delve deeper into this phenomenon, one thing becomes clear. The future of politics is being rewritten, and it's happening right now. The world is witnessing the rise of free men with clean strategies, a stark contrast from the past. Among these emerging leaders, a few stand out. Jair Bolsonaro, Donald Trump, André Ventura, and Javier Milei are not just names on a ballot, but symbols of a growing global movement. They represent the voices of those who felt unheard, the sentiments of those who felt marginalized, and the hopes of those who yearn for a change in the political landscape. Let's start with Jair Bolsonaro, the president of Brazil. A former military officer, Bolsonaro has positioned himself as a defender of traditional family values and a crusader against corruption. His no-nonsense approach, combined with his commitment to economic liberalism, has struck a chord with many Brazilians weary of the status quo. Then we have Donald Trump, the former president of the United States. A businessman turned politician, Trump's America First policy resonated with millions of Americans who felt their interests were being overlooked in the global arena. His unconventional approach to politics and his direct communication with the public through social media marked a significant shift in American politics. Across the Atlantic, in Portugal, André Ventura is making waves. The leader of the right-wing party, Chega, Ventura has positioned himself as a voice for the silent majority. His hardline stance on immigration and law and order, coupled with his criticism of the political elite, has seen his party's popularity surge. And in Argentina, economist and libertarian Javier Milei is defying political norms. A vocal critic of Argentina's establishment politics, Milei champions economic freedom and individual liberties. His message has resonated with many Argentinians, particularly the youth who are frustrated with traditional politics and the state of the economy. These leaders, each with their unique strategies and approaches, have managed to gather a significant following. They have tapped into a widespread sentiment of dissatisfaction with the political status quo. They have given a voice to those who felt unheard, offered a new perspective to those who were tired of the same old rhetoric, and instilled hope in those who were disillusioned by the state of politics. But it's not just about the leaders themselves. It's about the millions of people who support them. It's about the people who attend their rallies, share their messages on social media, and cast their votes in their favor. These are the people who are driving this political shift. It's important to note that these leaders and their movements have not been without controversy. Their rise has sparked heated debates, polarized societies, and even led to protests. However, it's undeniable that they are challenging the political status quo, and their influence is steadily growing. These figures are challenging the status quo, and their followers are growing daily. This is not just a moment in time, but a movement that's here to stay. It's a political revolution that's reshaping our world, and these champions of change are at the forefront leading the charge. This new wave of right-wing politics is not without its controversy. Indeed, the emergence of leaders like Jair Bolsonaro, Donald Trump, André Ventura, and Javier Milei, to name a few, has sparked heated debates worldwide. These strong-willed figures, unafraid to challenge the status quo, are reshaping the political landscape. Their rise to prominence symbolizes a shift away from long-standing political norms, a shift that's both invigorating and contentious. Critics argue that these leaders employ divisive tactics, pitting one group against another, stoking the embers of nationalism and populism. Yet their advocates see them as champions of change, as the harbingers of a new era where the voice of the ordinary citizen is heard and revered. These leaders, they argue, are the antidote to decades of political deception and corruption. The reverberations of this new wave are felt most profoundly among the youth. The younger generation, once seemingly hypnotized by existing social rules, are now waking up. They are questioning, challenging, and demanding more from their leaders. This political awakening is not just a ripple in the pond, it's a tsunami sweeping across nations, altering landscapes and toppling long-established systems. But what is most striking about this new wave is the hope it has ignited. Despite the controversies, despite the heated debates and societal shifts, there's a palpable sense of optimism among the youth. This is not blind faith or naive idealism. It's a hope born out of dissatisfaction, of a desire for change, for a more just and balanced world. This new wave is stirring up the minds of the youth, causing a societal shift. It's a wave that's breaking down barriers, challenging norms, and redefining what it means to be politically engaged. It's a wave that's giving voice to the voiceless, power to the powerless, and hope to the hopeless. This new wave is a tsunami, toppling over established systems and sparking hope in many. Like any great wave, it's both destructive and creative. It erodes the old, but in its wake, it leaves behind the potential for something new, something better. This is the new wave, the wave of change, the wave of hope. This political shift isn't confined to a single region, it's global. The tide of change is sweeping across continents, challenging status quos and shaking the very foundations of the global political system. This isn't just a ripple in a pond, it's a tsunami of forceful transformation, and its impact is being felt across the world. From the Americas to Asia, from Europe to Africa, the cry for change resonates. Leaders like Bolsonaro, Trump, Ventura, and Milei are not mere anomalies in their respective nations. They are symbols of a global shift, figures at the helm of a political revolution that's echoing in every corner of the earth. This new wave of the right is more than just a political movement. It's a challenge to the prevailing norms, a rebellion against an entrenched system. It's a bold statement of defiance against the left-wing politicians who have held sway over global politics for decades. And it's not just about the leaders at the forefront, it's about the millions of followers who are rallying behind them, tired of being manipulated and deceived by a system that has long lost its credibility. This political shift is not just changing governments, it's challenging the global media landscape. The world media, long seen as the mouthpiece of established politicians, is being defied by this new wave. The voices of the people are rising, refusing to be suppressed and demanding to be heard. And the impact of this shift isn't just political. It's social, cultural, and psychological. Young people who were once lulled into compliance by social norms are waking up. They're challenging the rules, questioning the narratives, and seeking truth in a world often shrouded in deception. This isn't just a political awakening, it's a societal one. This change isn't just about right versus left, it's about freedom versus control, truth versus deception, the individual versus the system. It's about reclaiming the power that has been usurped by a few and returning it to the many. And this shift is not confined to national borders, it's a global phenomenon, a testament to the interconnectedness of our modern world. The world is watching as this political shift unfolds. Some view it with trepidation, others with anticipation, But regardless of one's perspective, there's no denying the impact. The world as we know it is changing, and this new wave of the right is at the forefront of that change. A global political renaissance is underway, and the whole world is its stage. The future is uncertain, but one thing is clear: this is a pivotal moment in our global history, a time of transformation that could redefine the course of our world. As we stand on the brink of this political revolution, the world watches with bated breath, waiting to see what the tide of change will bring. Amidst all this, hope is being rekindled. The political landscape is changing, and with it, a new wave of optimism is sweeping across the globe. This is not the naive hope of yesteryears, but a mature, determined and resilient kind that comes from understanding the challenges we face and having the courage to confront them head-on. With the emergence of leaders who embody this new spirit, the youth are finding role models who inspire them to be a part of the change. They see in these leaders a reflection of their own aspirations, a desire for transparency, accountability, and a more balanced world. They see leaders who are not afraid to challenge the status quo, leaders who are willing to shake the foundations of a system that has long been mired in corruption and manipulation. This new generation of politically engaged youth is not just sitting on the sidelines. They are stepping up, raising their voices and making their presence felt. From online platforms to public squares, they are calling for a more just, equitable and balanced world. They are no longer content to accept the world as it is. They envision a world as it should be, and they are willing to fight for it. But the fight is not just against corruption and manipulation. It's also a battle of ideas, a clash between the old ways and the new. The youth are challenging the entrenched ideologies that have held sway for decades. They are questioning the norms, breaking down the barriers, and paving the way for a new political discourse. And what's more, they are doing it together. Across borders and cultures, they are connecting, collaborating, and building a global movement. They are harnessing the power of technology to amplify their voices and expand their reach. The internet is their megaphone, and the world is their audience. But the path to change is not without its challenges. There will be resistance, there will be setbacks, but the youth are not deterred. They understand that the journey is long and the road is tough. But they also know that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. This hopeful future is not a distant dream, but a reality that is being shaped right now. It's a future where politics is not a dirty word, but a noble pursuit. It's a future where leaders are not masters, but servants. It's a future where the voices of the many are not drowned out by the voices of the few. The youth are leading the charge for a more balanced world, and hope is their guiding light. They are the torchbearers of this new political era, the architects of a hopeful future. They are the promise of a better tomorrow, the beacon of hope in a world that desperately needs it. And as they forge ahead, they carry with them the dreams and aspirations of millions, lighting the path towards a more just and balanced world. So, what does this all mean for the future? As we come to the end of our discussion, it's essential to reflect on the main points we've journeyed through. We've seen the emergence of new political figures, men of strength and conviction like Jair Bolsonaro, Donald Trump, André Ventura, and Javier Milei. These leaders, not bound by traditional political norms, are charting their path, driven by a desire for cleaner, more transparent governance. Their strategies are not just challenging the status quo, but also dismantling decades-long political structures that have often left society feeling disillusioned and manipulated. This new wave of right-leaning politics is not just a local phenomenon, it's a global shift, and its impact is resonating across borders. The world is watching as these leaders gather followers, not in trickles but in waves, tired of deceit and manipulation and hungry for change. But it's not just about the leaders, it's about the people, particularly the youth. For too long they have been hypnotized and lulled into complacency by social rules. But now they're waking up, creating a veritable tsunami of people rising up against the global political system. They're challenging the world media, no longer satisfied with the narratives spun by politicians and the suppression imposed by force. This political awakening is stirring hope in the hearts and minds of the young. A hope for a more just and balanced world, a world where their voices matter, where they can shape their destiny. The tremors of this shift are already being felt, and the aftershocks will likely continue to reverberate. reshaping our world and how we understand and engage with politics. In conclusion, the modern world is going through a significant political change. It's a wave of transformation, driven by bold leaders and an awakened youth. It's a wave that's bringing hope, stoking controversy, and most importantly, changing the world. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the iHistory channel, like and share. Also, don't forget to activate the notification bell.